I'm here with Elizabeth Grant today. She's a friend of mine. We've known each other for not forever, but
maybe about 10, 12. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. You have two wonderful children, a husband. Tell us your story.
Well, about 7 years ago, I was 28 years old, and I was nursing my infant son. I guess he was about 3 months old at the time, when I felt a lump. I just didn't think anything of it. I thought I had a blocked milk duct. And so about a month or two later, during my annual appointment, I finally went in and mentioned it to my midwife, and she did not like the looks of it. And so immediately she scheduled a mammogram, and then that was followed by a biopsy, which was diagnosed the following day. So basically 4 days after, everything got moving really quickly, and it was discovered that I had stage 2B breast cancer, actually two different types of cancer, a ductal and a lobular, which is less common. And I was pretty shocked. I had no idea. I couldn't even fathom that something like that would happen, because I just have no family history of breast cancer. Of course, being only 28 was quite a shock. Devastating. I have 3 sisters, and all 3 of my sisters and my mom were pretty shocked. And I think I took that day to just kind of let it sink in and process it. I might have shed a tear or two, but for the most part, I just said, okay, let's get this fixed. Let's get it treated. Let's move on. And this is just a hiccup in my life. Let's just, I kind of approached it as though I have the flu. I just need to be treated, and life goes on. It's not that big of a deal. And for the most part, I found it very easy to look at the bright side of things. I knew it would be inevitable that I would lose both my breasts and my hair. And I thought, if I'm going to lose my hair, at least I don't have to shave, and that'll be great. And also getting to pick out different kinds of hats and wigs, I thought would be really fun, and just be able to have something to look forward to. And so I kind of approached it that way. I did go through chemotherapy for a few months, and, that was just a season in my life. And I went through some treatments, taking tamoxifen for 5 years, and everything seemed to be fine. And then on that 6th year, it turned out that my cancer came back. And now for the past year, I have been going through treatments for breast cancer that's in my bones. It's basically in my entire skeleton. And so that was pretty shocking. No one wants to have to deal with it again. But I always told myself, there's that possibility of it coming back. And if it comes back, it's not going to break me. We'll just deal with it at the time. And, I just wouldn't trade anything. People think I'm crazy when I say that. But when you go through something like this, it can either make you or break you, I always say. And, during this time, I had so much support. My faith in God just grew so much that I would not trade this time in the valley, when I can actually see God working in my life and all around me so much more clearer than I ever have before. And because of that, it's worth it. And I will go through whatever I must have to go through.
You went through the first portion of it, and we kind of got through that. Your hair was growing back, and you were dealing, life was coming back, so to say. It really hit you pretty hard, or did it the second time around?
It did, especially because I had no idea that it came back in my bones. I mean, it's not something that you can think about. I didn't have broken bones that would trigger, my knowledge. Basically what happened is I developed a swollen tongue, and I thought I was probably allergic to something, and I went and got tested, and through a long probably about a 2-month process, it was determined that I had a tumor at the base of my skull. And when I found that out, I just lost it. I thought, oh no, I have cancer that's in my brain now, and I'm going to lose my memory, I'm going to lose my functions, I'm, not be able to walk or do anything. And I literally started planning my funeral and just, thinking about the legacy I would leave my kids, because my children right now are 9 and 7. And then a couple of weeks later, I found out that it is not in my brain, it's in my bones. And I felt this huge sigh of relief. Not that it being in my bones bones is all that wonderful, but it's manageable. And inevitably, somewhere down the line, the cancer will grow into a soft organ, but we don't know when that's going to happen. So as long as we can keep the cancer contained in the bones, then that's a good state to be in right now.
How have you coped with, when you think about all the things, I mean, you can really get inundated by your thoughts, I'm sure, going through this.
Yes. There's definitely moments of depression. My personality, although I tend to look at the bright side of things, I also have a little bit of a melancholy tendency. And so if I'm doing too much resting and too much sleeping, then I'm not busy enough with my brain or with my actions, and it can be very easy for me to kind of slip into a little bit of despair. It's at those times that I really am aware of that happening, so I start to think about all my blessings and start to focus on my family, my husband and my children, and that helps. That helps me tremendously. I think so much of it is your thoughts and in your brain and how you perceive life and how you perceive yourself. And I tend to think there's no reason, it's not necessary to think the worst. I mean, nobody knows what the future is going to hold. I mean, someone that is perfectly healthy has just as much chance of dying in a car accident in a week than I do in a month from cancer. We just don't know. So I don't want to live my life thinking the worst, that, you know, I'm on borrowed time. Yet, in one aspect, it's good to think about it that way because it helps me to live each day to the fullest. Whereas most people think that they're going to live forever. We just plan and we just think that, you know, I'm going to live to see my grandchildren and all of that. And while I wish and hope and pray for that, the truth and the reality is that's probably not likely for myself in my case. So I definitely want to make the most of every day and every moment that I have with my children, which I think is a good place to be. I think it's good for all of us to want to make the most and leave a good legacy for our children, rather than just assuming that we're always going to be around.
So, Elizabeth, you have two little ones. You said a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. And
yes.
How are they dealing with this?
Oh, it's hard to know. I can't get inside their little heads, but we take it day by day, and we're real honest with them, and they seem to accept that this is the new norm. And they ask all sorts of questions. And like I said, my husband and I are really honest with them. We talk about heaven a lot. My son asked if I was going to die when we first talked about me having cancer. And I was just, pretty frank, and I said, yeah, well, everybody's going to die. We just don't know when. And so he seemed to accept that I wasn't going to be leaving anytime in the, immediate future.
One thing that I've enjoyed reading is your blog. Talk to us a little bit. Tell us what that blog is.
Okay. Well, I started writing an online journal with my blog a year ago. It was last May 3rd that I was officially diagnosed with metastasis breast cancer in my bones. I've always liked to write, and oh goodness, nothing professional or anything, just writing in a journal, writing my thoughts down. And I have found that it's been so therapeutic for myself just to have an outlet. And a lot of times when I'm writing my thoughts, a lot of it is to update my family and friends about treatments and things like that. But I also, in the back of my head, think about writing for my children someday when I'm no longer around. They'll have something tangible of mine to see my journey and to see what I went through, and so that they'll know and they'll be able to cope, hopefully, a little bit better, knowing that I'm having a positive attitude and that I can praise God even in the middle of something so horrible. Because of my quirky personality, I titled my blog Dead Man Skipping, because I wanted people to think about enjoying life, not being a dead man walking toward your end, but, skipping along and enjoying the days that you have, because really every one of us is heading, with every single day, we're heading toward our end. So why not skip along and enjoy the days?
So deadmanskipping.com?
It's deadmanskipping.blogspot.com.
Okay.
Yeah, all viewers are welcomed.
Where are you now as far as treatment? And so on?
Well, I just spent 8 months doing chemotherapy. The months before that was kind of a trial and error with hormone therapies, and we discovered that they weren't working, so they put me on chemotherapy. Pretty rigorous, 2 chemo drugs at the same time, and it was pretty hard on my body. And then after the holidays, they cut one of my chemo drugs and just had me on one. And the test have showed that the chemo has been working and the activity of the cancer is decreasing. So that's wonderful. And so my doctor decided to take me off of chemo for a while so that my body can grow and heal a little bit and some of the white counts can build back up. So they're putting me on some different hormone therapy while I'm taking a break from chemo to hopefully keep the chemo at bay and keep it from growing. And I'll be monitored regularly to see if the chemo or if the cancer is coming back. And inevitably in the future it will grow and come back. We just don't know when that will be. I could be in this state for weeks, months, or even years. So we're hoping and praying that the cancer doesn't grow back for a long, long time, and I can stay off of chemo. But inevitably, I will be back on chemo, and it'll be a regimen of rounds of chemo, taking a break, more chemo, taking a break, and that's pretty much how my life will be until the end. And I've accepted that.
I am also on the board for the Cancer Center for Healthy Living, so I'm just kind of curious, have you been able to benefit from some of the values that we have for you guys?
Oh my goodness, yes. I love the Cancer Center for Healthy Living. In fact, 7 years ago when I was going through chemo, I had a chemo treatment every other Monday, and I would schedule a massage on my good Monday, and it just gave me something to look forward to. So I would have a bad week and then a good week, and during that bad week, it was horrible, but I always told myself, I get a massage on Monday, and so that would get me through, and I just love it. And even now, in the years that I've been pretty healthy, I would still go back for a massage just to kind of for maintenance, and now I try to schedule one at least once a month, but they book up pretty fast. But I love getting massages, and I've also been pretty active at doing aerobics. They have aerobics that is offered for free. They also have yoga and some gentle weightlifting, and pretty regularly for a couple of years I was doing the aerobics every Tuesday and the weightlifting on Fridays. And you meet a lot of great people. They become a family to you, and it's sort of kind of an accountability in itself. You want to go and exercise not just to take care of yourself, but also to just to see your friends again. Because if you're not there, they're going to wonder.
Absolutely. So you have this other family then amongst the Cancer Center. I know they do a lot of educating too. Dietary, have you utilized any of that?
No, not really. They also had some support groups, and I remember attending a support group a few years ago. I think I went 3 or 4 times, and this particular one was for young cancer patients and survivors, because it doesn't tend to hit a lot of young women in their 20s and 30s. So that was really important to get to see and be with other people that are going through what you're going through.
That's awesome. Kind of help you know that you're not alone.
Exactly.
I don't think cancer discriminates against age anymore.
Nope.
How has Dale been coping with all of this?
Well, you have to ask him. It's hard to know. He often tells me that he is directly related to me and how I'm doing, and if I seem to have a good, positive attitude, then it kind of rolls off onto him, and he tends to have a better outlook on things as well. I think men in general are less apt to share their feelings and emotions, but I can tell that this time around things are a little bit different because the cancer is so much farther, and it's going to be an ongoing treatment rather than just a summer, just a little season of time. So because of that, it's made our marriage stronger. We kind of cherish the moments and each other a little bit more than we used to. And so that's been a blessing.
You participated this year in the race. How long have you participated?
Well, having no family or friends that had been touched with breast cancer, I had not done the Race for the Cure until my very first year, and I was going through chemo for 1 month. So this was 7 years ago when I did my first race, and since I was right in the middle of chemo, I was so very weak. So my friends rented a wheelchair and pushed me through the whole race, and it was quite relaxing for myself, but very hard, difficult for my friends to push me up the hills and stuff, but it was quite a fun memory. And I've done the race every year except one since then. And this past year, a couple of weeks ago, the weather was not supposed to be great. It was supposed to be cold and rainy. And I had decided I was not going to participate because of my immune system being so low. I knew I wouldn't be able to handle it. But I woke up that morning and I heard the birds chirping out my window, and I thought, I don't think it's going to rain, so I'm going to try. And I was going to originally participate in the race by riding in my motorized scooter, but I decided that I was going to try to walk it. So I put my little back brace on and I walked, and it was a gorgeous day, and I brought my daughter with me, and it was such a good experience, wonderful memory.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.